Hey everybody, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. I've got this little bracelet here that I made. I didn't do a video on making it, but I showed it in a finished jewelry video, I think about a month ago. I used some of the beads from the December bargain bead box, the Sparkling Snowfall collection. And I had several of you ask that I do a video on how to make this bracelet. I've done a video before on a bracelet really similar to this, but not exactly the same, so I was going to do it. But I'm just going to cut this one apart and do it over. And I know it's always a shame to cut something apart that you've taken hours and hours to make, but I don't have enough of these. I use the 6mm crackle agate frosted round beads here, these white ones, and in the center I use the 6mm moonstone glass round beads. I think those are imitation moonstone. And then in the center here I use the 3mm apatite faceted round beads. I've got enough of the moonstone and the little 3mm beads, but I don't have enough of these white frosted crackle agate beads to do another bracelet just like this one. And I know I could find some more beads in my stash that are the same size and just make another bracelet that in different colors and show how I made this one, which is what I was going to do, but I'm having a little bit of trouble with this one anyway. Whenever you use a toggle, it's important to leave enough room at the bar side for it to go through the loop, and I don't think I left hardly enough room here. I mean, it'll go through. I got it through pretty easy there, but I don't think it would be easy to get it on if you had it on your wrist. I think it would be kind of hard to get it on if it was on your wrist, because it's just not real easy to get it on, even not on the wrist. So I think I need to make it over anyway and leave a little extra room at the toggle bar side here. So I'm going to cut this apart. And when I come back, I'll have it all cut apart and we'll make it over. I also wanted to say I hate that my hands look so terrible when I do these videos. I noticed in the last video that I did when I watched it back, they're so rough, and it's really noticeable when I zoom in real close like I do. But it's just because I do so much bead weaving, and right here, this is where I push the needle through when I do bead weaving, and there's a permanent callus there. I don't think it's ever going to go away. And then right here, it's terrible rough looking. That's where the needle hits when I push it through. And I've started using this little thimble on this finger, but I mean, it helps, but it's not going to make that. I don't think it's ever going to go away. And I would use a thimble on this finger, but when I do that, I can't feel the needle come through, and it makes it hard to do it because I need to feel the needle when it comes through. So, and I think they're pretty much always permanently stained with fire line, even though it doesn't matter how much I wash them. It seems like there's always fire line somewhere. So I just hate that, but I don't really know what else to do about it. I've tried using lotion. I've been using lotion more lately, but the only thing with that is it's hard to hold on to the beads because my hands are slippery when I use lotion. So I don't really know what to do about any of that, but I just wanted to mention that I just hate that they look so terrible when I do these videos, but that's why. It's just that I do so much bead weaving. So hold on, I'm going to cut this apart, and when I come back, I'll make it over again. So I'll be back. Okay, the deed is done. I've cut my bracelet all apart now. And I've got my little crackle agate beads here, and my moonstone beads, and my apatite beads. These are a pile of galvanized silver 11-0 seed beads and 15-0 seed beads. And then I had two 8-0 galvanized silver seed beads that I used at the clasping area. I've got them set aside, but this is a pile of 11-0s and 15-0s. So this might take me a minute or two longer than it usually does, because I'm going to be picking through these to figure out which ones are 11-0s and which ones are 15-0s. So I'm going to pick up one of my frosted agate beads, an 11-0. Oh, and I'm using my 6-pound fire line in the crystal color. And I've got a size 12 beading needle because I'm going to be going through these beads quite a bit. And that's why I'm using 6-pound instead of 8-pound fire line. And I've got a stop bead, and I'm just leaving enough of a tail to hold on to, because I'm not going to even have to sew this tail in, because I'm going to go around this enough that I can just cut it off. And I'm also using I'm going to use my thread burner to burn down the end where I cut it off. And of course I have my scissors to cut my fire line. So I'm going to pick up one of my crackle agate beads and an 11-0, another crackle agate bead and 11-0, one of my moonstone beads and an 11-0, and another one of my frosted crackle beads and an 11-0. And I'll bring all this down to my stop bead. And you can, if you want to pick up 3, I think I lost an 11-0 somewhere. There it is. If you want to pick up your 3 white beads and your moonstone, you can do that. The reason I did it that way is because when I sew around these, I want the moonstone bead to be opposite my stop bead, because that's where I'm going to start my next unit. So that's why I picked them up in that order, but you don't have to. So now I'm going to go through all these beads again. Because I want this first unit to be really good and solid. I'm going to go all the way, sew all the way back around until I'm coming out this moonstone bead, because that's where I'm going to make my next unit. This is just right angle weave, and I'm going to embellish it a little bit. And another reason I didn't leave a long tail is I don't need to leave a long tail to put my clasp on, because I'm going to be going back up and down the bracelet a few times. So I'm going to go through here until I get back down here to my moonstone bead. And I'm going to come out just the moonstone bead, not the 11-0s. Try not to get my thread tangled like it looks like it's wanting to do. Okay, now for this unit, I'm going to have 4 beads for my right angle weave unit. I've already got this moonstone bead for one of them. And on this unit, I'm going to pick up 3 of my crackle agate beads. So I'm going to pick up an 11-0, because I'm going to have an 11-0 before and after each bead. A crackle agate bead, an 11-0, a crackle agate bead, an 11-0, a crackle agate bead, and an 11-0. Coming out the bottom of this moonstone bead, I'm going to go on the top of it. Make my next little right angle weave unit. And then I'm going to go around all this again. The 11-0s and the big beads. Let me get my tail out of there. It's trying to get in there. Go around all these beads again. Until I'm coming out this crackle agate bead down here, so I can make my next unit. I'm going to come out just the crackle agate bead, not the 11-0s. Now for this one, I'm going to do, every other unit's going to be different. My tail's getting caught in there again. This one I'm going to do an 11-0, a frosted crackle agate bead, an 11-0, a moonstone bead, an 11-0, a frosted bead, and an 11-0. Coming out the top of that frosted bead, I'm going to go in the bottom. Just circle around. That's going to make my little 5 crackle agate beads there. And I'm going to sew around all this again. The 11-0s and the big beads. Trying to get my thread untangled here. I should have started with a shorter piece of thread, but I didn't. I'm going to go around all these again. And I'm going to keep going around them until I come back out my moonstone bead here, because that's where I'm going to make my next unit. I'm going to come out just out the moonstone bead. Now this time it's going to be 3 of the frosted beads with 11-0s between everything. So I'm going to pick up an 11-0, a frosted bead, 11-0, frosted bead, 11-0, frosted bead, and an 11-0. Coming out of the top of that moonstone bead, I'm going to go in the bottom. Now I'm going to sew around all the beads again. Make sure not to miss any little 11-0s. Come out this crackle agate bead here at the end. And now this time it's going to be 2 frosted beads with a moonstone between. So I'm going to pick up an 11-0, a frosted bead, an 11-0, a moonstone bead, an 11-0, a frosted bead, and an 11-0. I'm coming out the top of this bead, I'm going to go on the bottom. Now I'm going to sew around all that again. Sew around till I come out that moonstone bead to make my next unit. Now this time I'm going to pick up 3 of my white beads. And the next time I'll pick up a white bead, a moonstone, and a white bead. And I'll keep alternating like that until I get the length that I want. And then when I come back, we'll put one side of the clasp on. So I'll be back. Okay, I've got my length now, and I ended with a unit of the 3 white beads because I want my both ends to look the same. So I ended with that unit. So now I'm coming out of the bottom of this white bead. I'm going to put on my toggle loop side first, and I won't have to add any extra beads to the loop side. I will to the bar side, but not the loop side. So now I'm going to pick up 3 11-ohs, one of my 8-ohs, and another 11-oh, and I'm going to pick up my toggle loop and drop it all down here. And now I'm going to come back down through the 11-oh and the 8-oh. Now I'm pick up 3 more 11-ohs. And I'm started at the bottom of this white bead. I'm going to go on the top of it. Just circle around it like we've been doing. I'm going to go around all that again. I'll go into the 3 11-ohs, the 8-oh, the 11-oh under the clasp, back into the clasp, back into the 11-oh under the clasp and the 8-oh. My thread's getting knotted. Just getting wrapped around itself, I think, I hope. Or I made worse knot than it started out being. Entirely possible. Yeah, it's okay. No, it's still in there. There it is. Okay, now I'm going to go down these other 3 11-ohs on this side. Go back into this white bead. Now I'm going to go around all that again, but before I do, I'm going to go around this unit. So I'm going to go down this 11-oh, the white bead, the 11-oh, back into the moonstone bead, now I'm going to come up this 11-oh, white bead, 11-oh, and now before I go back around this, I'm going to pick up 2 11-ohs and go into these 3 11-ohs. To fill in that little gap there. Now I'm going to go back into the 8-oh, the 11-oh under the clasp, back into the clasp, back down the 11-oh under the clasp and the 8-oh, back down these 3 11-ohs, now I'm going to pick up 2 more 11-ohs and go into this 11-oh, white bead, and 11-oh to fill in that little gap on this other side. Like that. Now I'm going to sew back around till I'm coming back out this white bead here, because I'm going to start my embellishment from there. So I'm going to go back into the moonstone bead, and I just dropped my thimble in the floor. Back into the 11-oh and the white bead and the 1 11-oh, and And I'm going to come out just the, oh, there's the white bead. Now I'm going to start doing my embellishment, but before I do, I'm going to pick my thimble up out of the floor, so I'll be back. Okay, I've got my thimble out of the floor. Now I'm going to start doing my embellishment here with my little 3mm apatite beads. So I'm going to pick up 4 15-ohs. One of my 3mm apatite beads, 4 more 15-ohs. And I'm coming out this side of this white bead. I'm going to go diagonally into this moonstone bead and go in this side. And pull my embellishment down there like that. Now I'm just going to do that again. I'm going to pick up 4 more 15-ohs. An apatite bead. If I can get a hold of it. 4 more 15-ohs. I'm coming out the top of this moonstone bead. I'm going to go diagonally into the other side of that white bead. Make sure my embellishment falls over the top of it. And I'm just going to do that again. 4 15-ohs. My apatite bead. I know that bead's got a hole in it. I promise it does. It just doesn't want to get on my needle right now. I'll just try another one here. None of them seem to want to go on my needle. But the holes are very, very tiny. Now, 4 more 15-ohs. Now I'm coming out the top of this white bead. I'm going to go diagonally into the opposite side of that moonstone bead so that my embellishment will come down diagonally across my unit there. Make sure it doesn't get tangled and it comes around the top like that. So I'm just going to keep doing that until I get to this other end, and when I get to the other end we'll put on the other side of the clasp. So I'll be back. Okay, I've got my embellishments down the center done now, and I'm going to put my toggle bar on now, but first I'm going to take this stop bead off, and I'm going to cut this down a little bit. And I've got a dozen pair of scissors laying around here, and they're all really, really dull because I use them so much. But I'm going to cut it, but I'm not going to cut it all the way. I'm going to leave a little bit there. And now I'm going to take my thread burner, and I'm going to burn that little piece that I left down. And that just makes a little blob there, and just a little bit of extra security that it's not going to come out. Although I really don't think it is, because I've been around it a lot. I think I need a new battery for my thread burner. Not wanting to burn down very good. Okay, now I'm going to put on this toggle bar, and I'm going to put a few extra beads on this side. So instead of 3, I'm going to pick up 5. Hope those extra 2 will be enough. Now I'm going to pick up 5 11-ohs, then one of my 8-ohs, and then another 11-0, and then my toggle bar. Now I'm going to come around and go back into the 11-0 and the 8-0. Now I'm going to pick up 5 more 11-0s. And I started coming out the bottom of that white bead. I'm going to go in the top of it. And I wound up going through one of those 11-0s just like I did on the other side. Now I'm going to go back up the rest of the 11-0s on this side. Back into the 8-0, back into the 11-0 under the clasp. Back through the clasp. Back down the 11-0 under the clasp. Into the 8-0. Back into the 5 11-0s on this other side. I caught around my bar there. You gotta watch that. Now I'm gonna go back into this white bead, and just like I did on the other side, before I go around it for the third time, I'm gonna go around this unit. So I'm gonna go into the 11-0, the white bead, and the 11-0. Back into the moonstone bead. Into the 11-0, the white bead, and the 11-0. Now I'm going to pick up 2 11-0s, and I'm going to go into these 5 11-0s here, fill in that little gap. I'm going to go back into the 8-0 and the 11-0. Back through the clasp. Back into the 11-0 under the clasp and the 8-0. Back into the 5 beads on this other side. And then pick up 2 more 11-0s and go into the 11-0 and the white bead and the 11-0. Fill in that little gap there. Now you can be done here if you want to. I'm gonna fill in the little spaces between my 11-0s all the way down both sides of the bracelet with 15-0s. But you don't have to do that. You could be done here if you want to. So I'm going to pick up 2 15-0s and go from this 11-0 into this 11-0, the white bead, and this 11-0. And I'm going to pick up 2 more 15-0s and go from this 11-0 into this 11-0, the white bead, and this 11-0. And you want to pull your 15-0s so that they pop in between there, but you don't want to pull too tight. If you do, your piece will be really stiff. So I'm just going to do that again. I'm going to pick up 2 more 15-0s. Go from this 11-0 into this 11-0, the white bead, and the 11-0 under that. Now I'm just going to do that all the way down this side, and when I get done, I'll come back and go to the other side. I'm sure y'all don't need me to do that, but I will just in case. So I'll be back. Okay, I've got all my 15-0s in on this side, except for this last unit here. So I'm pick up 2 more 15-0s. I go into that 11-0, white bead, and just that one 11-0 after the white bead. Now I'm going to go across that white bead, and then on this side I'm going to go down the white bead above that, or the 11-0 above that white bead, and the 11-0 under that white bead. Now I'm pick up 2 more 15-0s. Go from this 11-0 into this 11-0 and the white bead, and the 11-0 under the white bead. And 2 more 15-0s. Go from this 11-0 into that 11-0, the white bead, and the 11-0 under the white bead. So I'm just going to do this all the way down this side, and when I get done, I'll just tie off my thread, and when I come back, I'll be done, and we'll see what I've got. So I'll be back. Okay, so there's my bracelet that I've made over again, all done, and that's what it looks like. And it did help to put a couple extra seed beads on the bar side. It's easier to get this through here now than it was. That's what the clasp part looks like. So I hope this was helpful to those of you that wanted to see the video on this bracelet. I don't think I mentioned at the first of the video, but I will put a link in the description box below to the bargain bead box. And I have a coupon code. It's Teresa2, and I'll put it on the screen here and in the description box below. And if you're not a subscriber to the bargain bead box and you decide you want to be, that coupon code will save you $2 off your first box. It really is a great value subscription. It's one that I very much recommend if you enjoy beading and making jewelry. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to my channel and watched my videos and liked and commented on my videos. I have a website where I sell my jewelry. I also sell gift cards and some extra beads and findings that I have. It's Teresa's Handmade Jewelry, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below in case you're interested, along with a link to my Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and my email. If you haven't, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. So until next time, I hope y'all have a great day. Take care.